Plenty of research has shown that distractions cause people to take longer to complete a task. But now, a team of psychological scientists from George Mason University has found that interruptions don't just take up time, they also degrade the overall quality of people's work. And hence, with time, their results and happiness degrade as well. So maybe every time our phone pings or notifies something, it not only distracts us, but it can also cause us a little damage every time. That cumulatively brings an avalanche of breakdowns in our lives and, of course, our productivity. Hi. Welcome to the third episode of Master Within podcast. I am Souvik Ghosh, the host of this show. Every Friday, I bring you a unique perspective to deal with your mind and help you master the most effective time management and social skills so that you can become more happy, productive, and successful. Today, we are going for an interesting deep dive in our mind and our daily activities. We'll capture logic by logic with examples, how we are fooled every day, and how we can win over them using 7 easy steps. All of the work is research-based and example-oriented, so the references are provided in our website. The deadliest part of being distracted is not noticing that we are distracted, isn't it? A great sage, Lord Ramakrishna, once said, "Our mind is like a monkey." You see, monkeys, baboons, monkeys, jumping from trees to trees, eating bananas, fruits. You have seen them, didn't you? Now pause for a second. Just look at yourself. If you are listening to me attentively, when I said monkeys, your mind has started thinking about them, isn't it? Picturing a monkey jumping from trees, eating a banana. But this thought wasn't there in your mind a moment ago, isn't it? This is called the identification of monkey nature of our mind. A moment ago, you were not thinking about that, but when I inserted that idea, you started thinking about that. So, in this way, we are controlled by the impulses that come from outside. Our mind is impulsive. That's why it is hard to keep at bay. But we have some techniques at the end of this episode that'll help us make this monkey mindset into a monk mindset. So first, we need to be conscious of the fact and recognize this fact that yes, we are getting distracted without even knowing it. This is the first step. Now we'll look into the basic science of distraction. If we are not aware of our enemy's firepower, how the hell are we going to fight them? Before that, a small catch. Is distraction really all that bad? Actually, no. When we are sad or when we are downtrodden after someone's demise or from a failure in our life, this distraction is a necessary tool to help us move forward. So we must remember this distraction thing is a normal thing. Scientists actually say we are not as modern as we think we are. Our mind still works like that of our early ancestors in the early ages, about 70 to 50,000 years ago of the human civilization. We were hunter-gatherers. We always had to be cautious of our surroundings to survive from external dangers all the time. And though we are now in a relatively safe position, our DNA doesn't recognize that. Our body doesn't recognize that. It still thinks we are living in the early jungles of savannah. That is why, with a little bit of prick in our mind, it starts roaming around here and there. Well, this is not even the hardest part of the real villain. The real villain enters now. You know, in the history of India, when the King of Bengal, Siraj-ud-Dowla, was fighting Robert Clive of Britain, Robert Clive is not claimed as the main villain. It was the puny traitor called Mir Jafar, who, being in the team of Siraj, worked for Robert Clive and betrayed his own king. Similarly, we also have some traitors here and there who peeks at us right through our pockets and fools us to think that they are actually helping us, like that Mir Jafar. No, not smartphones. The smartphones aren't the enemy, but the apps, the app developers, and the default settings of that app that they provide us. The applications that we use in our phones, mostly phones and computers, they are designed in such a way so that we are easily affected and get addicted to them. It seems quite a common knowledge, is it not? But I can assure you that most of us, or almost all of us, have even no clue how much the tech giants are actually controlling our minds. Even if we are not using them anymore, they are still controlling us through the great web of this culture of networking that is around. I highly recommend you to have a look at the documentary called Social Dilemma. You'll get an idea. Applications like Facebook, Instagram are called infinity pools. No matter how much you scroll down, the content will never end. And through artificial intelligence, they'll capture your thought process, what you like, what you dislike, when you sleep, when you don't, when you're happy or sad, and they will provide you the materials that you may resonate with instantly. Whenever you will feel like you are wasting time, they'll provide you with educational videos, educational contents, and make you think that you are using your time for good things. But you're actually not. You're wasting your time. These are not my words. There has been a lot of research behind this. Psychologists say it is not just a distraction, it is a dopamine addiction. With each like, each follow, each comment, or simply by a message notification, they are taking charge of our mind. This way, our natural responses to be happy, to be fruitful, these are fulfilled without any kind of actual achievement. It is using these things they are pushing the similar advertisements in our mind to increase their sales, to increase their market value. So, the natural responses that we are supposed to get from running, the natural responses or the dopamine feedbacks that we are supposed to get after getting a good grade, we receive that simply by a like from a Facebook or a comment by someone else. We tend to become socially exclusive. Do you think the more information we get online, the more intelligent we become? Studies show most of our learning, whether online or offline, doesn't even improve us. More information doesn't necessarily mean more knowledge. Psychologists call it information overload. Knowledge comes from your or others' experiences. It is gained by linking the information with what you already experienced. But info, on the other hand, is just info. So understand and filter what you actually want. What is your purpose for seeking an information? How you can extract the existential amount of knowledge that is useful to you. This is called a mental filter. We need to make this into a habit. Start today. Whatever you see, whatever information you store, it can be a blog or a video or a story, just filter out the necessary amount, being mindful about that. This is the second step. You know, the core difference between a productive person and a lazy person is just this. A productive person knows the difference between his or her friends and company. Friend can be anyone, but we have to be more mindful when we choose our company. Company means the people we usually hang around with. This is important. This is not about just being selfish. It is good for both of us. We can be friends. Anyone can be friend with anyone, and they should. But choosing a company is necessary, and it is an important and wise task to do. This way, we can form better symbiotic relationships in our society. This is the third step. You can make some of your friends of your company accomplices or accountability partners. This helps a lot as well. I have some friends, we share each other's schedule calendar so that we can keep a check and balance on each other and remain motivated. Speaking of schedules, scheduling a day at the morning is a nice way to get ahead of your task and avoid many distractions. But often we fail to complete what we think we can do, isn't it? Study shows humans are intrinsically bad statisticians, so we can't comprehend what we can or cannot achieve. In a book called Make Time by Jake Knapp and John Jaratsky, they provided an interesting solution. Among all the other tasks in a day, we can highlight that one task that we will complete in that day. It will be on our highest priority. Rest of the tasks can be done or may not be done, but that one highlighted task must be there. Master says, ideally, we must be concentric and be aware 24 hours of action and navigate the day like a boat. How long we are in high tide, how long our boat is running in the low tide, we must have an idea like a sailor. This high tide or activity time is God, and the inactivity is inertia or bondage. This is the fourth step. Action is important, but we all know before action there is thought. And the more there is a gap between the thought and the action, the more there is a chance of distraction. One day, great master Sri Thakur was running a discussion with one of his students named Panchanan Sarkar, who was a renowned professor at the time. They were discussing about various ideas to modify the then education system. And master asked him to think about those models, how he can practically apply them. Panchananda said, "Okay, master, I'll think about all of this." He told that and he left. After passage of 5 to 10 minutes, when he was drinking tea with some of his friends in the ashram, a man came running saying, "Thakur is calling you, Panchananda." When he returned, master asked him, "Tell me, what you think, what you thought?" Panchananda was shocked. "Excuse me, how can I think so fast? Just 5 to 10 minutes earlier you told me to think about this. At least give me a day or two to plan and then I can say." Master rebuked him. If thinking takes all our time, when are we going to act? If thought process is so slow, then when shall we act upon it? This is something that we often miss. We take too much time thinking, and in that time, distractions come. It damages our work's quality as well. The father of productivity, as many people say, David Allen, says, if there is a work that takes less than 2 minutes to start, do it now. If it is time consuming and should be done later, don't just keep it in your mind. Write it somewhere. It can be a to-do list or anything, any app or something in your calendar maybe. This thing is called 2 minutes rule. If you can't complete it by 2 minutes, then do it now. And if it will take time and you have to do it later, then just keep it on your to-do list or something like that. Master gives much focus in this motor sensory coordination. This is the important 5-number step. Now, even if we have a wonderful start, we seriously lack consistency. Master says, "Verily, verily I say, keep the continuity constant in all affairs of thy daily life, and perform thy adopted mission in any affair which is propitious to your existence. Break not thy continuity, for it will break the continuous trail of thy energetic urge." If we can connect our work to the larger good, it can give us a sense of fulfillment, and it can encourage us to do more. And in this way, the continuity or consistency will become normal. This provides us with the necessary energetic urge, and automatically it makes us repulsive towards the things that are less important, like our distractions. This is the 6th step. And last but not the least, to me personally, this last step, or this 7th step, is the most important of all. This is like the route through which the nutrients reach the plant. We all must have a tendency to fulfill the call of the providence. Did you notice when we drive ourselves to fulfill a task for someone we love, maybe our parents, our teachers, or anyone else? The motivation or the auto-initiation comes naturally. It is due to this inherent urge to make our lover happy. But often, the need by our lovers are not inexact to our well-being or the social well-being. It is not their fault that they are ignorant sometimes. It is the nature. Not everyone is the ideal. That is why our ancient cultures, as well as modern psychology, gives so much importance to the attachment towards a living ideal who knows the best for both of us, who can see the link that ties one with many and many with one. This is the 7th step to leverage our power, our actional libido, for our own benefit by accepting and following a living ideal in our life. Whatever sufferings may come, whatever enlightenment may appear, care not the least. Go ahead to materialize the call of your frontman. Be ideal. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Master Within podcast. In this episode, we saw what distracts us from our important tasks or our daily life agenda. And at the end, we've given the 7 most effective solutions. I would like to summarize those steps. You can access the show notes of this episode by visiting www.masterwithin.org/podcast or by the link we have provided in the episode description. The summary of the show, the 7 steps are: Number 1, becoming conscious of our distractions. Number 2, or the 2nd step, making our own information to knowledge filter. The 3rd step, choosing our company wisely among our own friends. Number 4, how we should make a highlight of the day and the art of scheduling. Number 5, motor sensory coordination and the 2 minutes rule of David Allen. The 6th step, the power of continuity through identification and for fulfillment of the purpose with greater good. And last but not the least, the 7th step, the importance of the self-sustaining motivation of materializing the call of our ideal or master. That's it. Thank you so much. I hope you liked it, and please share this among your loved ones and friends so that we all can use that useful knowledge to our benefit. You can subscribe to this show wherever you get a podcast from. I hope you have learned something. And if you did, please let me know your biggest takeaway from this episode on our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Koo app, or just email us. You can search us by the name Master Within. Thank you so much. I'll of course catch you guys on the next episode. Concentric, progressive go, jolly determination, cordial behavior, presence of mind, active readiness. Meaningful coordination of these leads to success and self-complacence. From a message of Master.